Hi, I'm Pam Hayes from Hayes Sewing Machine Company, and welcome back to another installment of the creative videos that we're putting out for you guys. And today what we're going to be doing is a quilt from this book. I'm doing this one over in the corner, and it's going to be making a lap size quilt with only 3 yards of material. So you need 1 yard of 3 different colors. And so you can go to your stash and do that, but remember, we also have them already bundled for you. And we also have this on our Etsy store as well. So you can come in and there's a lot of different choices. And if you take a look, these are all 6 different books that you can work with. Again, the quilt that I'm working with today is this one here. But take a look, and there's a lot of nice different creative possibilities, and you can have a fun time. So remember, the 3 yards for the quilts, 1 yard of 3 different colors. That will do like a lap size, baby size, that type of thing. If you're thinking, I want something more of a twin, something I can cuddle under on the couch, then you need 2 yards of 3 different colors. And then if you're thinking, well, you know, I really want to do maybe a queen or a king size, you're going to need 4 yards of 3 different colors. And again, the quilt that I'm working with today is called Chain Reaction, and it's going to be this one right there. And you'll see how she will give you the idea of the different colors that you're going to be working with. So a light, medium, and dark is what you want to work with. And then if you find that you do want to make it larger, she gives you a suggestion as to how to lay it out. So you don't have any in doubt as to what you're going to be doing. What's nice with this particular quilt looks visually complicated, but there's only 2 different blocks. You're going to see block A and B, okay, this guy right here. It's basically, it looks like a snowball block if you're familiar with quilting. You basically have a bit in the center, and then you have 4 triangles on the corner. Easy peasy, no problem. And then this one looks like the beginning of a log cabin. You have a center block, and then 2 short, and then 2 long. And that's it. So very simple as far as the piecing is concerned. You're going to notice one thing, that you'll talk about the corner template. So you're going to cut your 7.5-inch squares for your quote-unquote snowball blocks, and then you'll see that they want you to cut it off. So what I did, instead of me using this bit and actually making a template, let me show you what I did. I went and I took a rotary ruler and I lined up the long edge, the edge that I would need to cut, and I got some highlight tape. So just some bright tape, and I marked it along the edge, like so, and like so. So you're ignoring the lines that are on the actual rotary ruler, so your 1-inch lines, you're not paying attention to them at all. But you see how now we have it nice and lined up. Now if you did what I did and you forgot and you left the little edge, just wrap it around. Nobody's any the wiser. Okay? Now, you would take your fabric, and I'm just showing you blue so it makes it a little easier for you to see. So this would be your 7.5-inch square. You're going to line up the corner and take a look. You line this up, use that as we're putting your blue, and cut. Just that simple. Okay? So you don't have to worry about making another template and cutting it off. So again, if you need to see that one more time, we're going to line this up. Make sure all the edges are lined up. and boom, you have your cut. So it's very simple to do, not a lot of elaborate steps. Now, I told you there were basically 2 blocks, and if you take a look here, I pieced some of it for you. This is your basic snowball. You'll see how it has the white center, and then you see how it has light blue, and then it has dark blue. So that's it. So you have to make some that are going to be light blue, some that have the dark blue corners, and in the pattern she'll be very specific as to, you know, the amount that you need. And then you'll notice this is the other block. You'll notice how there are dark for the short, and then you're going to notice there are some that have light for the short, and then dark or light for the long. It's a positive and negative thing, so that's what you have to do. And that's what's going to give it that kind of chain look to it. And then when you do your rows, you'll notice we alternate. So again, it's going to be the light blue corner, light blue corner, and then we have the dark block in the middle. And then when we go down here, you'll see how it's the light block and then the dark. And again, she spells it out very nicely in the book, so you know. But again, you're just going to alternate them down. And I have left a couple of blocks so I can show you how to do this. Alrighty. So when we have our blocks, okay. I left 2 blocks of the kind of snowball so you could see how to do it assembly line style. So your choice, you could actually sew the corners, you know, on one block and move on to the second block. Totally fine. Or an easier way of doing it is when you line this up, again, you have your triangles that she will tell you how big to cut them. You line it up, and you're going to work with your 1/4 inch foot. So in this case, I'm working with a 57D for the Bernina, but any 1/4 inch foot, or just have a mark on your needle plate. That'll help get you your 1/4 inch. And then we're going to take, and we're just going to sew down. So I have my 1/4 inch. Now you'll see I'm grabbing my second block, and I was just checking, this has a white on white print, so it would be kind of convenient if they're all, you know, looking at the right side of this. And that looks good. So I grab and do the same, basically a corner on the second block. And you see that we would continue down and doing it for all of them that I have. Now, once you have them joined, and you'll see how they're joined for the one side, you're just going to cut them apart. And at this point, you could go and press them. That's fine. But you'll see how the corners really aren't touching, anywhere near to touching each other. So you could do this all in one seating. Alright, so I'm going to line this up. Now, when you're doing your triangles, you're going to notice that they extend out. Okay, so if you take a look, when you line it up, you're going to look, if you're new to doing quilting, you're going to be like, well, Pam, that doesn't really line up. It extends, and that's good. You want it to extend, so when we line this up, it's going to have a V-shaped piece. Now that V-shaped section is going to line up perfectly with your 1/4 inch. So you have it extended equal on either side. Alright, I grab my next block, and we're going to line this up. So you can see that's very easy to do it assembly line style, cut them apart, move to your next corner. So for the 2 blocks that I have here, I have them when they are, I should have 8 triangles, because I need 4 for each. Lining this up. And what's nice is if you do this assembly line style, by the time you have you're putting your last triangle on, all your blocks are done. And I have 1 more corner. So line this up. And line the other triangle up. And you should have something that looks like this. So you have your blocks with your 4 triangles. Now we're going to go up to the ironing board and we're going to press them, and you want to press to the triangle. So you're going to press towards the blue in my case. So you're going to give it a press. All right, and ta-da! You're good to go. Now, second block. This one is even easier. Not that that one was hard. You don't even have to worry about triangles. At this point, we have our dark ones. So remember how I said they had dark top and bottom. So it's going to look like that for the blocks. And then once that is sewn, we have the light on the sides. So remember, the first thing you have to do is you're going to do the short dark sides in this case. And again, assembly line style. So we're going to sew down, grab my other block, make sure that I have my right sides looking at right side up for my white on white print, and then you're going to put right sides together. And then on this one you can do the same thing. All you have to do is turn it around and you're going to line up the other side. You can press in between steps, but it's really not necessary. They're not touching. So you don't have to worry about doing that. All right. Cut them apart. And now we do have to go and we're going to press these. And again, we're going to press towards the rectangle, towards the dark blue, in the case of the fabric that I'm working with. All right, so take a look-see. That's what you should have. So again, center square, 2 of the rectangles, dark in this case, on either side. Now we're going to take our light blue, and can you see how that's just going to line up perfect now? And guess what? We're going to line it up, and that's our second block. So remember, you're going to have one grouping that has the short that are the dark. The other one is going to be the short that are light. And again, in the pattern, she'll explain very nicely how that is going to be laid out. I line this up. And I'm going to sew down. And again, I can do this assembly line style. I'm only doing 2 of my blocks because I've already sewn some together. But this will give you an idea of, again, how to do an assembly line. Alright, I like to cut mine apart there. And then we're doing the other side. So again, I have my 2 longer light blue rectangles. And we're just going to stitch these down. And we're going to do the same thing on the second block. Alright, go over to your pressing station again, and we're going to press them to the outside. Okay, so that is how the second block should look. 2 small rectangles stitched on first, and then 2 of the longer ones on either side. Now, we're going to be doing our rows. Okay, so I've sewn some of the rows together, and then at this point, we're going to go and we're going to attach the next ones on. So, I'm just taking a look here to see what ones I want to do next. Okay, so this one's going to line up on here. Now, how I know that, okay, I can see I have the light blue. Okay, so I'm adding my 2 light blue on the outside. I've done the center part of this. And if you take a look, you'll see that in the bottom row. So see how it's a light blue, cornered, the dark, long blue, middle one, dark, long blue, and then the light blue tip on the end. So again, I'm going to stitch on either side. Now, congratulations, if you get to this point, yay, you're on your way. Alright, so we're going to line this up. And what's nice, you have no corners at all that you need to match up. Yay. Okay, so at this point, you have this section, and you're just putting it to a long blue piece. So again, you don't have to worry at all about lining anything up. So we're going to stitch down. Again, 1/4 inch seam. And then we're going to stitch the block on the other side. And this block, this row will be done. And then I'll show you how to line it up for the other. So again, we're going to line this up. You can throw some pins in there if you like. I'm just doing some short rows here, so I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, so we have that piece lined up. Now we're going to give that a press. And I'm going to press it towards the dark. Alright, and I have my row done. Now we're going to go, and I'm going to basically add on to my other row. So we're going to line these up. And then we're going to line up on the other side. Alright, so now I have my other row done. So you see how it's light blue for the long bits this time. And we're going to line this up. Now, how are we going to add these two together? We're going to take, this wants to be our, in this case, my bottom row. So I'm looking on my diagram. You'll see that the snowball has the light tips in the corner and then the long sections. So when we line it up, this is what we're looking for. Light tips in the corner, the long section. So this is going to go. So basically what you really want to focus on is I just focused on putting the actual edges of the block together as I go along. So when I flip this, I line this up, and if I happen to have my seam allowances press the opposite direction, great. Put a pin in. You could also use clips. That'll work fine as well. But what I'm going to show you how to do is I'm just going to show you how to do a quilt tack. That way, if you need to take it out, all you're taking out is a little section of it, and it's no big deal. Because nothing's worse when you sew the entire seam together and then you notice your corners aren't lining up. Then you're like, can I live with it, or do I want to take it out? Whereas if you just sew the little corners, no big deal. So at this point, we're going to go, and I'll take a look-see. I just have pinned it. Where I'm looking at is right there. I want to see whether that is lined up. Looks pretty good. Now, there's several different ways of doing a quilt tack. I just leave my stitch length at the normal, and then you're going to stitch a couple stitches before and then after the seam. And that, okay, so then when I open it up, yeah, it's right on the money. And guess what? You're going to continue all the way down. Now, once you are done this, you're going to add this 2-row section that I'm working with, and we're adding it on the bottom of the quilt. Now, you have 3, if you want to do it how she suggested, you're going to have 3 borders. So you're going to have a tiny border. So it's going to look like so. Boy, isn't that spectacular. And then we're going to have a wider blue border. And then we're going to have another dark one. So you can see that that's going to be really, really pretty. Now, next time, the next creative video I'm going to do for you is I'm going to have all this pieced, and then I'm going to show you how to take this blue, the pale section the white section, and we're going to do some quilting with your embroidery machine. So if you have an embroidery machine in the corner of your room thinking, oh, I wish I could use that a little bit more, we're going to show you how you can quilt with it. Because sometimes you're like, well, I'm not so good at doing the fancy stitches. You don't have to be. That is the awesome thing with quilting with your embroidery machine. So we're going to have this all pieced, layered up, and then we're going to talk about how to quilt and do something decorative with your embroidery machine. All right, see you next time. Hi, hope you enjoyed the video about the quilts. This particular book is what I did today. We also have more books as well as different fabric bundles all ready for you to go. These are the 3-yard bundles. You feel free to come into the store or go to our Etsy shop, and the links are listed below.